Imagine a young man who sells off his entire livelihood, his entire flock of sheep, just to cross an ocean and a desert. His name is Santiago, an ordinary shepherd who leaves everything behind to reach the Egyptian pyramids in search of a buried treasure he saw in a vision. But the desert is unforgiving. He gets robbed of every rupee, he is beaten, he is left entirely penniless. He eventually returns to where he started, without a single gold coin in his pocket. Yet, strangely, his journey is written as an absolute triumph. To understand why, we have to look at a concept called the personal legend. It's that quiet, lurking hope inside a person, an innate pull to abandon the ordinary and pursue an extraordinary path, regardless of the physical cost. This concept comes from the author Paulo Coelho, who built his iconic novel The Alchemist around a very specific philosophical paradox. He suggests that losing all your money and failing to secure physical wealth isn't a failure at all. In fact, being stripped of your material comfort is the required entry fee for a massive spiritual success. This brings up a difficult question. If the goal isn't actually about acquiring physical gold, how do we separate a true life's calling from a standard passing fantasy? The scientist and former Indian president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, offered a perfect metric for this. He argued that a true dream is never something you passively watch while you sleep. A true dream is the obsession that prevents you from sleeping at all. Contrast that active, waking obsession with what most people chase, a mirage. In Marathi, it's called mrigajal, the illusion of water shimmering on a hot road. We run ourselves ragged chasing the mirage of purely physical, financial wealth, only to arrive and find empty sand. Santiago had to physically leave his pastures in Spain to break out of his comfortable sleep state fantasy. He had to walk into the brutal reality of the desert to force himself awake and learn to distinguish his actual path from a mirage. A genuine dream derives its power from the state of total wakefulness it requires, making the journey itself more transformative than the destination. That wakefulness comes at a steep price. Santiago is left stranded in a foreign land and is forced into years of menial labor, cleaning glass in a crystal shop to survive. These aren't random strokes of bad luck. The universe communicates through natural omens and obstacles. When you pursue a personal legend, the cosmos starts speaking to you through intense resistance. There is a precise logic to this resistance. If nature handed us our treasure easily, we would lack the capacity to comprehend its value. So a massive block drops into our path. The universe places these obstacles deliberately, demanding that we exert maximum effort and climb vertically to a higher plane of understanding. Resistance acts as a filter, allowing only those with sufficient resolve to survive the climb and reach an elevated perspective. Right when the desert nearly breaks Santiago, a mysterious figure steps into his path, the Alchemist. He is not a wizard conjuring gold from lead. The alchemist functions like a traditional Indian guru, guiding a disciple toward ultimate spiritual salvation. He forces Santiago to recognize the difference between two types of happiness. There is the fleeting, temporary joy derived from physical commodities, and then there is the deep, lasting satisfaction of spiritual alignment. The guru's core lesson is severe. A life built entirely around extracting physical gold from the earth will eventually collapse. But the strength forged in your soul through the struggle, that is permanent. The alchemist didn't intercept Santiago to hand him a map to the gold. He intervened to dismantle and rebuild Santiago's entire definition of treasure before he reached the final dig site. Santiago finally drags himself to the Egyptian pyramids. He starts digging, and immediately he is attacked by thieves, beaten half to death, left bleeding in the sand. As Santiago lies in the dirt, one of the thieves laughs at him. He reveals that he once had a recurring dream about a treasure buried beneath an abandoned church in Spain, the exact spot where Santiago's own journey began. There is a Hindi idiom for this exact situation, bagal me bacha, gal me dindora. It describes the absurdity of running through the entire village crying out for your missing child, completely unaware that the child is resting on your own hip. Why would the cosmos engineer such a brutal detour? Why force a boy to cross oceans, lose his money, and bleed in the desert if the gold was sitting quietly in his own backyard the entire time? The logic of the cosmos demands a physical journey to the other side of the planet to teach a seeker how to recognize the wealth sitting in their own backyard. Ancient Indian philosophy captures this beautifully through the metaphor of the castore, or the musk deer. Picture a deer frantically sprinting through the forest, desperate to locate a divine, intoxicating fragrance. The deer runs itself to absolute exhaustion, chasing the scent over hills and through valleys. It dies, never realizing that the exquisite fragrance was emanating from its own navel all along. Santiago's struggle mimics the work of an alchemist, refining his character until he is capable of seeing the spiritual gold in his own history. If he had just dug a hole under the church on day one, he wouldn't have found his personal legend. He would have just found meaningless metal. He had to be broken by the world to become worthy of what was buried underneath. Look closely at the signs around you. Your true treasure is already within reach, but you must be willing to endure the journey to become worthy of it.